You may be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is the case of Herrod versus Walther.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone.
Good day.
Ms. Herrod, you have summoned the defendants to court today to prove that their deceased son, Justin, fathered your 3-year-old daughter, Star, during a torrid love affair. You are hoping today's results seal your case. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mrs. Walther, you say it's been a year since your son passed away, but only 3 months ago, the plaintiff appeared and claimed Justin fathered her daughter, Star. While you stand in court denying your son could be her father, you admit you hope she is his daughter, as she would be your only biological grandchild. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Herrod, you're here today to prove paternity.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you truly believe their son is the biological father of your daughter, Star?
Yes, Your Honor.
How do you feel about this?
It's been a very hard stressor on me because I know who my other girls' dads are, and it beats me up every day.
It does. And I see how emotional you are right now. So you opened today's case for Star.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you want answers and resolution for her. All right. Ms. Walther?
Yes, Your Honor.
Please tell me about the first time you met Ms. Herrod.
Well, my son had mentioned that he may have a child and that they was going to do a DNA, but then he said that she moved away and he went his own way, and they never did find out anything else about it. But I met Star and Jessica about 3 months ago, I guess.
And Star's 3 years old.
Yes, Your Honor.
Can you tell me about the nature of your relationship with the deceased Miss Herrod?
I was living next to a couple of his family members, and I am really good friends with them. They introduced me to him, and we just kind of connected as friends.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in a very bad relationship at that time. He was there as a support group, and it just went further from there.
So you were still dating the other man when you started the sexual relationship with Justin?
Yes, Your Honor.
And so how often would you see Justin?
We would hang out daily.
For how long? How many months?
It was about, before I moved, we were there for about 3 months.
About 3 months?
Yeah.
And so you would hang out daily?
Yes.
When you say hang out, does that mean you also were having sex with Justin that often as well?
Mainly through the weekdays was these sexual encounters. The weekends when my boyfriend would be off work, we would just play basketball, go swimming, hang outside.
So, Miss Walther, did your son tell you anything about this relationship?
He had mentioned her name a couple times.
And when he mentioned her name, did he say, Mom, I'm dating someone new, or I have a girlfriend?
He just said that he was dating a girl, but it's complicated right now, so he was leaving it at that.
Okay, so he did say, I'm dating her, but it's complicated.
Yeah.
So, Miss Herrod, when did you find out you were pregnant?
I'd come down feeling sick. There was a bad flu going around at that point in time, so I thought I just had the flu. I went to the hospital. They did tests. The test come back that I was perfectly fine, so they did a blood sample, and it come back that I was pregnant.
So you thought you had the flu,
Yes.
but really you were pregnant.
Yes, Your Honor.
And so once you found out you were pregnant, what did you do? Who did you tell?
At that point in time, I told the dude that I had just broke up with.
So did you ever tell Justin?
Not at first I did it. I was about halfway through the pregnancy before I mentioned it to him because he was in a relationship. I didn't want to come in the middle of it. So I just kind of kept it a secret. And then once he texted me one day, we started talking, and I told him, hey, I've got this daughter. There's a possibility she's yours. And he accepted it.
He accepted that.
Yes.
So at 6 months, when you're 6 months pregnant, you said, I'm going to have a little girl and she's possibly yours.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Walther, did your son ever tell you anything about the pregnancy? What did he tell you?
He just mentioned that he may have a child, but he didn't say for sure, who or when. He just said that, Mom, I might be a daddy.
And what did you respond? How did
I
you
asked
respond?
him, I said, oh, really? I said, when and how? I mean, because I was so excited because this was my only chance to be a biological grandma. And then he passed away and I never got to.
I'm so sorry for your loss. I really am. And I can see how badly this hurts you.
Because he never really said, for sure who it was at first. I mean, he had mentioned Jessica to me a couple times about him being in a relationship. He said, but it's kind of complicated. And then he had mentioned that there may be a baby. He's pretty sure that he's going to be a daddy. But then, like I said, he passed away and we never got to find out.
Actual cases.
Her car had come through and slammed me up against the toolbox.
There was a torpedo coming at my face.
Personal injury court. Cases everyone's going to be talking about.
So, Miss Herrod, did Justin ever have a chance to meet Star before his passing?
Yeah, he met her when she was about between the ages of 1 and 2. It was about 2 years ago.
He did?
Yes.
And what happened at that meeting? Can you tell the court?
He told me he felt in his heart that she was his child.
And at that moment when he said that, did that further your doubt or your confusion, or did you feel in that moment like Star is Justin's child?
At that point in time, I did feel that she was his father. That opened up some doors for me, saying maybe I should go ahead and proceed and find out if he is the father or not, for Star, for him, for the family, and get that closure.
So that made you feel further convicted that I have to get some answers.
Yes, Your Honor.
Miss Walther, can you tell me about the first time you met Star?
The first time I met Star, we went over for a cookout, and I sat down beside her, and she let me hold her and everything, and it just like I could feel my son, but I didn't know if it was just me wanting to be a grandma. But she's so adorable, and she won my heart that night. And we had a cookout, and we played, talked, and I gave her some candy and different stuff. And she's a doll. She's a little doll.
And we've seen many times in this courtroom, and Jerome can attest to this, that grandmothers often have the instinct. They know.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
When you held Star, did you feel like in that moment, I know?
Yeah, it's like I felt something in my heart, and then certain ways, actions that she did, she looked like Justin. I mean, it was like I was seeing my little Justin all over again.
You could think about him when he was a child.
Yes.
And you felt like her mannerisms or the way she looked. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's got his actions and everything, and something tells me down deep that she's gonna be my grandbaby.
You submitted pictures to the court.
Mm-hmm.
Pictures of Star when she was a baby and Justin as a baby. And when you look at those pictures, you see a resemblance?
Yeah, I do.
There
You can see it.
is a striking similar appearance between Star and Justin. Wow. I see a lot of side-by-sides in this courtroom.
Yes.
When you described how you felt when you held her, I can imagine looking at a picture like that. I could only imagine as a mother what was going through your heart.
It was just so much going through my heart. I mean, it was like I could just feel the warmth of Justin inside of her, like hugging like he's hugging her too. And it was just really emotional. And she does so many things that are like, spitting image of Justin. And I can't help but to think that she looks like Justin and that she's my granddaughter. I just have that feeling.
Who does she think you are? Like, what does she call you? Do you say, I'm your grandma, or?
She thinks I'm her grandma.
She does.
Yeah.
And so, Miss Herrod, as you see Miss Walther testify so beautifully about your beautiful little girl, you see the pictures.
Yes.
You see the relationship they're starting to build.
Yes, Your Honor.
How does it make you feel that you know within your heart that there's still doubt?
It bugs me on a daily basis. I've got the fear that she isn't going to be his.
And so you submitted a calendar to the court, and I'd like to look at the dates. Star's birth date is on April 27th.
Yes, Your Honor.
So she was born then, and the green outlines the months and the days that you say you were intimate with Justin fairly regularly while your boyfriend was at work.
Yes, Your Honor.
And if you count back, the months of July and August and June are well within the time frame.
Yes, Your Honor.
Where Star was conceived, if her birth date is on April 27th.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now I need to ask you a difficult question, but I need to know this.
Yes.
Were you also intimate with your boyfriend at the time?
It was very seldom, but yes, we were.
Okay. And I need to know, it was not with protection, I presume.
No, it was not.
Okay. What are your hopes today?
My hopes are that Justin is the father. She could build a relationship with his family. We could all get along, build a relationship together, and move on with the rest of our life.
And Ms. Walther, what is your hope today?
My hope is to find out that she is my grandchild and I can build a life with her and talk to her.
What is that you're holding, ma'am?
It's a granddaughter's little book of love. And it has different pictures in it.
Oh, you filled it with pictures of Justin.
Yeah.
So she could have pictures of her dad.
Yes.
If in fact he is determined to be her biological
Right.
father.
In due time, when she's old enough to understand, my husband and I and Jessica are going to set her down and explain it to her. But right now, she's too young to understand.
Absolutely, absolutely. You've been through so much, both of you. And I truly believe that no matter what the outcome is, that you all will do right by this little girl.
Yes.
I'm not going to make you wait any longer. Jerome, let's have the results. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. Because there wasn't a blood card available to test the DNA of the deceased, Justin Walther, we performed a DNA test with his surviving parents, Mr. and Mrs. Walther. With that being said, the results determine if there is a viable relationship between the child, Star McKinney, and Mr. and Mrs. Walther. Here are the results. In the case of Herrod versus Walther, if you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. When it comes to 3-year-old Star McKinney, it has been determined by this court the percentage of relatedness between Mr. and Mrs. Walther and Star McKinney is 0.05%. You are not related. I'm so very sorry. I know, Ms. Walther, this was a moment where you were hoping that there was a surviving piece of your son.
Yes.
I feel for you.
Thank you.
I think you've done nothing but show the love towards Star you had for your son, and that's a beautiful thing. Ms. Herrod, I know this is difficult for you because I know there was a lot at stake as well.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is it safe to assume that your ex-boyfriend is in fact her biological father?
Yes, Your Honor.
And there are no other possibilities?
No, Your Honor.
You're gonna have to find the strength to reach out to him to let him know, because this is not about you and it really isn't about him, it's about Star, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm going to have you all go out and talk to Dr. Jeff to begin to work through this and figure out how to move forward. And I wish you all the very, very best. Please take care of Star. And remember, we're here for you if you need us, okay?
All right, thank you.
Court is adjourned.